nerves going through their body tonight. That all goes away once they get hit for the first time.
Sean Clark in charge of the action between the ropes. Quick little stab to the body by James.
What do you think? It's pretty cold in here, Rich. I wonder how that will affect the fighters going forward. I mean, yeah, there's the lights, but these aren't the lights that we see on some of the major events where the lights are beaming down on the fighters. So I wonder if any of the fighters might have a little bit of time getting started tonight.
Yeah, work up a sweat a little bit, come in as opposed to coming in cold. That's a good point you bring up, especially for these 4-rounders, right? Not a lot of wiggle room, not a lot of margin of error. You want to kind of come in already juiced up, damped up. Little combination up top just for good measure from Slanger.
I think someone must have left the back door open all night.
We did get hit with a little bit of snow. Midway through this first round.
You see Slanger, looks like he's got a little bit more kind of wherewithal what he's doing in the ring.
Overhand right landed another stabbing shot to the midsection with the left. Certainly a fight like this, at least when you have one opponent that's got the track record of an amateur record, then you mentioned, having a older boxer making his pro debut, you just kind of wonder, okay, maybe what took him so long, but everyone's got their story.
Yeah, I'm always wary of that. Why all of a sudden, maybe he was we didn't get a chance to talk to some of these guys earlier. Maybe he was an amateur years and years ago. There was a lapse of boxing somewhere in there, whether he was a late start or he did box as a youngster and took a lot of time off.
We'll see that sometimes. I do believe tonight there is a fight, and I'll have to double check. I think one of the fighters has a 10-year layoff.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So that kind of begs the question, what he's been doing for the last decade. Good left hand. Little chop and right.
James may be a debutant in there, but he's a veteran of talking to the crowd going on after he got hit.
Close in on one. Another combination up top. James is just little tricks of the trade, even though it's his pro debut, making it a little ugly, a little trash talking. Sean Clark sees. He'll break him apart. You certainly see through one. Slanger, a little more skilled, tighter guard, crisper shots. As one's in the books. Between two making their pro debut inside the 2300 Arena, South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, James seems to be a little bit of a showman in there. He's been for the Bronx. Maybe he was working on Broadway all these years.
Quite possibly. As we mentioned, late crowd filling in. We expect to sell out. We typically get it inside the 2300 Arena. Saturday night at the fights. Weather held up, which is a good thing. We are getting set for round number 2 between James and Slanger. Mark mentioned pretty stacked card. We've got our main event, plenty of time to talk about that. He also illustrated Amir Smalls on the card this evening. Interesting to take a look at him up close and personal. Always a excellent fighter. Ryan Schwartzberg, I've been told that fight, him and Joshua Jones, might be the fight of the night.
Could be. Schwartzberg always brings it. Doesn't have the greatest record, but he always brings it. I feel like Patrick Mahomes playing in Buffalo. I got to put my park on after I come to the sideline here.
Action underway in round 2 between Slanger and James. So I would have to say James, understatement, pretty reluctant to really let that right hand go, just kind of pawing with that left. Not a ton of action. A little more tighter guard. Slanger drops that left hand one more time to the midsection. Oh, good right hand. There you go. That'll wake him up.
And then he threw James down to the canvas.
Right hand found a home, though. Little confidence now from that first round into the second. Left and a right one more time. James can only wrap him up, tie him up in this second round. So James explaining to Sean Clark where that punch was.
I think he should put his hands up.
Ooh, right hand. Ooh. Should worry about having a tight guard protecting himself. Doubled up with that left-handed Slanger, then a right, comes back downstairs once more. All James can do, once again, tie him up.
After a few first round, Slanger's now really letting his hands go here in round two. He's bringing thunder behind these right hands that have landed. A couple left hooks have landed as well.
So waking up a little bit and getting a little confidence after one, bridging it to the second. This has pretty much been the theme of this fight. Another right hand right down the boulevard. James backpedaling on the bike, caught up against the corner once more. I think James tasted the power a little bit, so now he's got to be weary of it. And if you're Slanger, listen, keep peppering him with those jabs. Right hand starting to get through. Closing in on 2, scheduled for 4. Right hand once more. Body shot, just for good measure.
James seems frustrated. I'd be frustrated too if a series of right hands were hitting my face.
They are certainly landing with substance. So 2 clean rounds from James. I'm sorry, from Slanger, pardon me. Only thing James can kind of do is state his case already. And you see right away ringside physicians in his corner. This is usually what happens too when you get this type of situation, especially with a 4-round fight. Older fighter making their pro debut, taking a lot of shots. We know Sean Clark, one of the best in the business. He will not hesitate to jump in and halt the action if he believes that the fighter's in danger. And more importantly, if he's not even letting his hands go. And that's somewhat been the case through 2.
Yeah, but Slanger, he's landing, one shot at a time. If he puts some stuff together, he's got to, if he gets James in trouble a little bit, then, it could possibly be that they almost forgot the mouthpiece of Slanger before he went out.
So the youngster Slanger looking good through 2 in the white, black, and red trunks. James, as Mark alluded to, eating a lot of right hands in the blue trunks. We start round number 3. This one's scheduled for 4. I like the mix and match, right? Slanger's touching him a little downstairs, getting him to drop the guard, coming right back up top. Trying to find another opening for that right hand. Right uppercut found a home right there by James. First shot of the night that connected. Aside from when he touched the back of Sean Clark's head.
See, I don't get it here. You got James, who's granted, he's a, quote, rookie, so to speak, being a pro debut. So on the road, he's definitely, he knows he's behind 2 rounds. I mean, he's stepping up a little bit more here in round 3.
But why so hesitant?
Yeah.
Right?
32 years old, you've been waiting all your life for something like this.
Go for broke. Why not? Go for broke. Let your hands go a little bit. How many times have we seen, too, with debuting fighters that sometimes you just overwhelm them a little bit, and it's really not the barrage of punches, but you overwhelm them where they're covering up.
Yeah.
And the referee sometimes has a tendency to step in and call off the fight.
Yep. Slanger landed a good right moment ago.
fight in round number 3, first bout of the evening, right here on Combat Sports Now, in association with R&B Promotions. Philly Fight Night 4. A jam-packed stack card.
Alex Barbosa done a great job. He's come a long way since me and you broadcasted his first fight on the boat about a year and a half ago.
That's right.
Speaking of weather, that
I was about to say that was a refreshingly cool day, sarcastically.
That was about 130 degrees.
We were hoping it rained.
It did rain. Remember, it rained.
It did, but then we got the mix of the Camden Gnats that kind of flew into our makeshift booth. End of 3. So while we have a moment, you mentioned we got a lot of young fighters. I think by my count, there might be 4 or 5, possibly even 6 making their pro debut. Then we got a bag of some veterans, some crossroads fight. How about the main event? What's your, if you kind of handicapped it right now, what's your expectation? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, the couple times I've seen Olele, he's been very impressive. He's been very impressive. A couple stoppage wins here, and he's 14-0, I believe now. He's very close, especially with a good performance tonight, to get in that bout where we're going to see him on a bigger stage, bigger platform. So it's a very important night for him to not only win but look good against Buelvis.
So you're going by the rationale, the definition, prospect right now, fringe contender.
Correct.
You get a good showing, good win tonight.
Correct.
Which is always taking that next step. But again, he's got to go through a pretty grizzled veteran in Buelvis. So 4th and final round between Slanger and James. Slanger well ahead after 3. See if he applies a little more pressure, because James has really given no resistance whatsoever, and as Mark alluded to, not even letting his hands go.
And just real quickly on that last point we're talking about with Olafemi, he's I believe he's early 30s as well. We'll get his age in a second. So it's time for him to move. So he's actually 29, but it's time for him to move. Enough with the 6 and 8 round fights. It's time to step it up, but first he's got to get by a veteran in Buelvis tonight.
That'll be our main event. Got a good co-feature as well. Dan Van Fossen against Noah Norman. I'm excited to see that Schwartzberg-Jones fight, and I'm a big fan of Tamir Smalls, so I always enjoy calling his fights and watching the way he carries himself.
He's another one, a young welterweight who's been developing in front of our eyes as a
nice
Slanger.
right hand.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He's been developing right in front of our eyes, and he's young enough where doesn't need to rush it. Spars all the time with boots, and he's gonna develop into another one of those solid Philly fighters. Maybe a guy who becomes a contender.
Yeah, but to your point again, get to win tonight, have a good showing.
Correct.
So James finally, a little too late though, letting his hands go in this 4th and final round. Nothing's been of substance or consistent. Ooh, another right hand again by Slanger.
Who is James waving to?
Perhaps family and friends?
Either family or friends or a pretty girl in the 3rd row.
Another right hand. Slanger, that's been the difference obviously in this fight. Just pretty much lopsided, dominating affair. Crowd still coming in. 2300 Arena, South Philadelphia on a Saturday night.
Yeah, the Philly fight scene it's red hot with a lot of different promoters going here in Philly. R&B promotions right in the thick of things, putting on solid shows, not more than solid shows, very good shows.
Also failed to mention Richard Johnson's making his pro debut tonight, so a lot of fanfare behind that young man as well. So 4 in the books that'll go to the scorecards. Should be an easy score.
40-36 on my very, very unofficial card for Rancy Slanger.
So as we await the decision, I want to remind everyone, Philly Fight Night 4, powered by Elite Consulting Partners, understanding your needs and delivering results. TKO Fitness, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, STB management, Apollo Pre-Owned. Give them a call, 856-881-2869, Monday to Friday, 9 to 8, Monday to Thursday, Friday 9 to 6. Cosmic. Duke's Boxing Gloves. Check them out online. jdukesboxing.com. And Time for Fun. And, of course, Nevos Construction. So, putting in the work, if you will, with Slanger.
I was working another fight last night in Myrtle Beach, and I had about 14 different sponsors to read throughout fights. I've never said so many phone numbers and .coms in my life.
Was that an 813 area code?
I don't even remember.
There you go. Long night for you. All right. Throw it back up top, Steve Peacock. Make it official.
After 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored the bout 40-36. For the winner, came out of the red corner, Rancy Slanger.
So not a surprise, Slanger gets the W in his pro debut. What a surprise why James kind of had this almost beside himself look.
Yeah. He's gonna think he got screwed on the decision when he clearly didn't win pretty much 1 second of any of the rounds tonight.
So Slanger moves to 1-0, put in a nice little yeoman-like effort.
And
James
that's
falls to 0-1.
That's
Yes.
a good thing for the 23. He's going to wake up tomorrow, a professional fighter, 1-0. It's a great feeling.
Got the W. Friends. Pretty stacked card.
Boxers